asked in the Jacksonville Moms Facebook group, which has over 18,000 members, what they regret not knowing before they moved to Jacksonville, and I received over 200 comments within the first 24 hours. I love this question because it's so unbiased and they have no reason to lie. So let's go check out the comments. Ross Kayla says, I did wish I knew there isn't much to do. It's nice that we're central to other cities, but I wish there were more to do, especially for kids. And I can totally relate to this because as a mom of four, my family, we never really like to stay on the inside unless it's raining. And there are things to do in Jacksonville outside of the Mosh or hands-on museum or jump places, but I really wish there were more to do, even though we are central to other cities like Orlando, which is maybe about a 2.5 hour drive, or St. Augustine, which is about a 45-minute to an hour drive, and Fernandina Beach, which is about an hour drive as well, 45 minutes to an hour. Those are surrounding cities amongst Jacksonville that are, you can easily do a day trip in Orlando, but I wish locally in Jacksonville, outside of jump places and the hands-on museum and the Mosh, like there were actual outdoor activities kids could do throughout the year. And a great resource for you to stay up to date on local things to do in Jacksonville, especially if you have kids, is jacksonvillemom.com, and I'll leave the link in the description below. Jana Brown says that I would miss it so much when I moved away. I know people love to hate it in Jax, but the weather is beautiful, always fun stuff to do, and lots of activities, recreational sports for kids. I can also agree with this, Jana, because there are things to do here in Jacksonville, and it's really about what you make of it. From going out to the beach or hiking or just going on some of the nature trails, bike riding. There are so many things to do, but it just depends also on what your family's into doing outside of organized activities. Like I mentioned before, going to a museum and things like that. Like, I just want to have fun with my kids. And another comment, Jessie says, how much I would fall in love with the city and how much it just keeps getting better and better. And if you haven't seen some of my videos on things that are coming or closing in Jacksonville, be sure to check those out. The city of Jacksonville is putting in so much money into our downtown, and it's great to see that evolution for our city. I have been in Jacksonville for over 18 years and have seen Jacksonville progressed so much. From one of the main attractions being the St. John's Town Center, and just all of the high-end and luxury shops and restaurants that have been coming to the area in the St. John's Town Center, to the downtown with the new Jags Stadium that just recently was announced that they're going to be spending over $1 billion in renovations, and just adding things like the stadium or revitalizing the downtown area and the city streets. Laura Stately says how great this place is and how you can find your people if you look in the right places. I moved here 33 years ago and never regretted it. And I haven't either, Laura. I am looking forward to Jacksonville growing in ways that I can't even imagine. And it is very important to find your tribe, just like any other place. You have to find your group of people, your group of moms, and other family-friendly people that will make your experience here awesome. Or if you can't find those people, go find them yourself or start your own group. Shelby Lou says, I regret not knowing anything and moving here on a whim. I only stay because of the schools my kids are in. And I can totally relate to that, Shelby, because my kids, they do go to private school, but what's great about Florida and Jacksonville specifically is that you have the choice to put your kids in a better school district, a better school. You can go to public, you can go to private, you can go to charter schools. There's just so many options available to you, but I would not stay only because of the school. If you don't love it here, or if you're thinking about keeping your kid in school where they're at and maybe even moving closer or moving to another area and commute. I currently commute about 20 to 25 minutes during the school year for my kids to go to school. They don't go to school directly in my area, but that was by choice, that we wanted to put our kids in private school and we wanted them to have a better opportunity. Shannon Pinkyard says the traffic, and I think this would be like one of the #1 complaints for anyone that posted a comment in the group, because traffic can get very crazy, especially during peak hours where people are traveling to work, to school, because especially if you don't go to a public school that offers like bus pickup or drop off, you're a parent that is commuting to school, and then along with that, like everyone else is going to work and things like that. So I can relate. I can also agree with this because it just really depends on what time of day that you're out and about traveling, because really only during the peak hours, like in the morning and in the afternoons when school gets out, or just like rush hour traffic, I think that's pretty much anywhere. So can get a little crazy sometimes. And really it only happens when there's an accident on the road. Valerie Hant says that it's the largest city and land area in the continuous United States, so things are very spread out and horrible drivers, and I say that coming from Atlanta. So yes, Jacksonville is very spread out and it's going to continue to grow. I would just really recommend, if you're planning to get somewhere, the commute's going to be a little bit longer because of traffic or just because of sometimes the way people are driving, but you're always in control of your own vehicle, right? So if you're planning to go somewhere where like your Google Map says, oh, it's gonna be 6 miles down the road, you might want to just not really depend on that. And then like when you actually press go from your location, it's gonna give you the real time frame. But I would highly recommend just commuting and leaving a little earlier than normal. A 5-minute head start from when you need to be somewhere can definitely make a huge difference in your day. And yes, the drivers are horrible. Yasmin Adams says, and the homeless people all over downtown harassing you at every single gas station and pull up to at night to the point where you feel completely unsafe and driving off. I learned my lesson with that one. Yasmin, I don't know what you're doing downtown at night, but I highly don't recommend that for anyone. Our homeless population is growing downtown, and it is very sad to see. What can you do, right? So I would just encourage you to not be downtown and utilize any of the gas stations. I don't want to say use any of them, but I would just not encourage you to use them at night, especially since you know that homeless people are downtown and you might, of course, feel unsafe if they're coming up to you. So just don't go out at night. Taylor Marino said, and also the limited selection of kid activities compared to other cities I've lived in. The mosh sucks. There's no aquarium or kids museum. Hands-on museum does not count. The only water park is closing. There aren't any indoor playgrounds and more, etc. And yeah, there is the beach, but I'm from the Gulf Coast where you can see through the water. So yeah, Taylor, I totally understand where you're coming from. I'm wanting to have more attractions here for Jacksonville. But if you didn't know, the Jacksonville Zoo is going to incorporate some sort of marine life coming soon. So I know it's gonna take some time to get here, but we're a progressing city. And I know the mosh doesn't count, or the mosh sucks, quote unquote, and the hands-on museum doesn't count. It really doesn't. And the Adventure Landing is supposed to be closing to make room for more housing. However, it hasn't closed yet and it is still available this summer. So definitely get your kids out there and enjoy the water park. And if you didn't know, Jekyll Island is just an hour outside of Jacksonville or north of Jacksonville. And there is a water park there that you can also go to. I want to say it's called Summer Waves. Cassandra Valerie says, CDDs, Community Development Districts. I had no clue they existed, what it meant, that they could raise fees, and it was attached to our mortgage or what was included. So with CDDs, if you don't know, they are a part of pre-planned developments. For example, a big one here in Jacksonville or Northeast Florida is so, and most of those communities, or pretty much all of them, they do have CDD fees attached because they are putting amenities into the community before the community really has taken off or has started. They're pre-planning those things so that way you don't have to worry about going to the beach. You can have a man-made beach in your area or your neighborhood, and just things like that, like a splash pad, like a pool, a gym, fitness center, things like that, where you have amenities within your community and don't necessarily have to leave. So that's what CDD fees are, and they are actually attached to your taxes, and they're paid annually when the tax bill is due. So when you're exploring for properties in Jacksonville, you may see some of the taxes, especially if they're not homesteaded, they're going to be a lot higher than the house next door. If they are homesteaded, just be mindful of that when you're looking for homes here in Jacksonville, that there may be some CDD fees attached. But if you want those amenities, that's what comes with it. Shauna C. Wright says, drivers suck. And they do. We can't control what we can't control, right? So just do your best on the road, and if possible, avoid peak hours when you know traffic is gonna be a little bit heavier, or leave a little earlier if possible to reach your destination a little bit sooner so you don't have to feel rushed or pressured while driving, and especially while they're redoing a lot of our highways and roads right now. Tammy Markham says, how horrible everyone drives.